Hello, welcome to episode 26 of SWA Podcasts, a podcast where we review modern day WWE, and you're going to get a lot of that today. New Japan, as well as the odd retrospective, classic pay-per-views from the wonderful world of pro wrestling, which hasn't been entirely wonderful, but we'll get to that in a moment. Today we're discussing WWE's last, say, six weeks or so. I think it's about that, yeah. Their latest collection of shows featuring no controversy in the slightest. I'm your host, Reese, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Harry. Say hello, Harry.
Hello, Reese. You okay?
All good. Just gonna warn our thousands upon thousands of listeners that we are both suffering with a changing of the season's cold, so you might get some coughs and horrible bodily function noises during this, but bear with us because we've got a lot of bullshit to talk about, and it's always pro wrestling. I think it's an obvious thing. Pro wrestling podcasts tend to be more entertaining when there's negativity to discuss.
Accentuate the negative. And I was going to say as well, being sick never stopped Bischoff, so we've got chances.
Good point. What are we going to talk about on episode 26?
A lot.
A lot, yeah.
A lot. There's been 3 major WWE shows in the past 6 weeks. Some of them have been more controversial than others.
The Rose Between Two Thorns really is a incredibly positive show that's, equal rights, equal chances within pro wrestling in the world wrestling entertainment. But either side of it, there's been a couple of just odd shows. Although Super Showdown wasn't controversial, it was just long and, well, I suppose it built to some quite lolsy moments in Crown Jewel. But yes, so we'll do a brief recap of Super Showdown, their WWE's huge show was it Melbourne? Yeah, it was in the MCG, wasn't it? So we'll go over that. We'll go over WWE Evolution, WWE's first all-women's pay-per-view. And then we'll go to Crown Jewel, WWE's second show in Saudi Arabia, second show as part of their 10, I believe it's a 10-year deal, not a 10-show deal, isn't it?
I think it's 10-year, yeah.
Second show as part of their 10-year deal. They're being paid lots of money by the propaganda arm of the Saudi Arabian government or royalty, whatever you want to say. Dictatorship, whatever you want to call it. But we'll get into that. So, no time like the present. We might as well get cracking. So, first show that we're going to talk about, Super Showdown. This was a fair while. It's October 6th, so yeah, about 5 weeks ago. 4 weeks ago. Attendance 70,309. I'm sure people like David Bixenband will be writing articles in 20 years' time talking about how actually they only did 62,000. But just to be clear on that sounded like a subtle dig at Mr. Bix, but actually I quite enjoy his articles when he talks about stuff like that. So yeah, Super Showdown, Melbourne, Australia. What are your memories of Super Showdown, Harry?
Buddy Murphy winning the Cruiserweight Championship in a really good match and then being left off of the best match of pole that the WWE usually do, which was quite funny.
That was clearly the best match of that night as well.
Yeah, jeez. Daniel Bryan defeating The Miz in 3 minutes.
2 minutes 25.
Oh, Jesus. And what was billed as the last ever singles encounter between Triple H and The Undertaker, which was it was sad.
Oh, well, we're going to be talking a lot about Triple H and Undertaker and Shawn Michaels and Kane in sad matches. Right, I'll tell you what. Let's run through the card and results, and then we'll pick the talking points from this show, because obviously some of them build towards the next 2 shows. So New Day defeated The Bar to SmackDown Tag Team Championship. I remember that being a fairly decent match. Those 2 teams, you're always going to get a decent match, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. It's been done to death, though, at this point.
Yeah. Charlotte Flair defeated Becky Lynch by disqualification, which means Becky Lynch kept on to her SmackDown Women's Championship. More on that as we progress. Again, I thought that was a decent match, but there's a lot more to talk about with those 2 ladies to come. Glowing reviews, I imagine.
Just padding, but good padding.
Yeah. Lashley and Cena defeated Elias and Kevin Owens.
This had Cena's weird haircut,
Yeah.
and it's his sixth move of doom, which I'm going to cheat and go on Wikipedia. What is Cena's sixth move of doom?
I don't know. Go on. I thought it was the Code Red. When he added the Code Red, that turned into his sixth move of doom.
No, his new one's like a punch of some sort.
God.
Oh, I'm going on
sounds
Wikipedia,
wonderful.
but they've scrapped all the wrestling moves.
They did. Yes, this year they did it, and it caused a mild ripple in the ICW.
So cunny. Now I've got to go on Pro Wrestling Wiki, and it's like
IWC, not ICW. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. We'll continue. Hometown. Was it home? I don't think they're from Melbourne. Anyway, Australians, the Iconics, Billy Kay, Peyton Royce defeated Asuka and Naomi. Jesus, that's further punctuating the fall of Asuka, but whatever.
got to kill Asuka.
Yeah. AJ Styles defeated Samoa Joe by submission. This was a no count out, no disqualification match for the WWE Championship and was supposed to be the end of their feud at the time. But
It
again,
did feel like it.
well, yeah, we'll get to that. Ronda Rousey and the Bella Twins defeated the Riot Squad. This was again another match that was building towards Evolution. And this was pre Brie nearly murdering Liv Morgan. So at the time, Liv Morgan didn't have a concussion on her medical record in WWE. So
that's right. She didn't get kicked in the fucking face.
no,
That's right. That's something completely forgot about. All the bollocks has happened. That was one of the biggest things that happened on Raw, and yet it's now just thrown to the wayside. No one even remembers it until you've brought it up there.
Yeah, well, we did have a week or so of, well, quite frankly, venomous critique of Brie Bella's wrestling ability. Not unwarranted, but in some cases it did go a bit far, I think. But and that's not me defending. I suppose it is, but it's not me saying she should continue to wrestle. I want to make clear she should stop wrestling.
She has been doing it long enough to the point where this should now not be a norm. You shouldn't be actively nearly injuring people in matches, or in this case, actually severely injuring someone. Concussion's not exactly something to fucking, forget about as such.
Well, not since the emergence of CTE and stuff like that. Buddy Murphy defeated Cedric Alexander. He won the WWE Cruiserweight Championship. Hometown guy. That was a good moment. That was a big pop. Probably it was only 10.5 minutes it got, and it was easily the match of the night.
Absolutely. It was built up as a big thing as well because Cedric Alexander has been undefeated since WrestleMania. It might have even been before that as well. So it felt like a very big deal.
The Shield, Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns. Oh God, we'll get to that as well. Seth Rollins defeated Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, and Drew McIntyre. Yeah, I remember thinking this might be a really good match, but it wasn't really that great, was it?
Roman's final technical pay-per-view match is a 6-man tag team match, which no one barely remembers.
His final pay-per-view match for now, but again, we'll get to that. Daniel Bryan defeated The Miz. This was a number one contender match for the WWE title, and it went 2.5 minutes, and Bryan won with a roll-up. I think they've denied that they cut this short because of time constraints, but I'm not entirely sure.
Don't get the purpose of it, especially with the further background information as to what was leading towards Crown Jewel as well. I'll get into a bit more detail about it when we actually cover Crown Jewel, but I think there's a reason for it.
How long was the flight from America to Saudi Arabia? To not Saudi Arabia, to Melbourne. How long's that flight?
Depends on which way they go.
I don't think it's a short flight, let's put it that way, and he did that for 2.5 minutes. So did The Miz, but whatever.
One hand, you could say it's an easy paycheck. You don't want to really wrestle 25 minutes jet lagged, which 4 other wrestlers did in another pay-per-view, which we'll talk about.
I don't think Daniel Bryan's the kind of guy, if you look over his career and the way he's travelled and some of the crazy matches he's had over his career, and you kind of think to yourself, geez, I wonder how much he got paid for that match. I don't think he's one of those people that probably thinks like that, but who knows?
No, I mean, the prime example is when they did the previous Saudi Arabia show, the Greatest Royal Rumble, and he was in that match for fucking at least an hour, I want to say.
Yeah, and Roderick Strong turned his chest into mincemeat.
That's right, yeah. Again, we remember that. One positive point from that. So I reckon there's a reason behind it, but I'll maybe get into my crazy conspiracy theory when we talk about it.
And Triple H with Shawn Michaels defeated The Undertaker with the Mayor of Knoxville in a no disqualification match. As you mentioned, this was billed as the last singles match between Triple H and The Undertaker, which that went 27 minutes 35 seconds. Probably a good 17 minutes longer than it should have gone, but whatever. Triple H has got to get those wins back, baby.
It was kind of like a sad mirror sequel. Really poor choice of words, but really bad, version of the WrestleMania 17 classic. That had a load of shortcuts in it as well because it was a no disqualification match. But this was just fucking sad. Obviously, its principal purpose was to set up an angle for a future match between these four, but the match itself was way too fucking long for what it needed to do.
Obviously we're talking about it now, but when I'm thinking of this match, all I can think of is hobo-looking, bald Shawn Michaels just tottering around outside the ring with Kane, and it's just weird.
Mine was more, at the start of the year, Taker's made his comeback against Cena. It's like 2 minutes or whatever, and everyone's like, you know what? If this leads to good matches, fuck it. It was worth coming back. But since then, it's just been like, he's had the Rusev match, which was okay. So okay, it was okay. And then this sad state of affairs, and then we've got more to come. It's like, oh man. As you say, it was like 17 minutes, way too fucking.
And that was Super Showdown.
It was like a house show. Very similar to the old UK pay-per-views we had in the Attitude Era.
Do you have any lingering thoughts on Super Showdown?
Super Showdown is the middle ground of these three shows that we're talking about. It had some very good moments, but it had some, like, the main event wasn't much cop, and there was some disappointing things. It's actually quite a sad reflection again, more on Reigns as well. It's all right, though. Could have been much worse, as demonstrated by the final show we talk about.
Yeah, so obviously, as mentioned on that rundown there, so Flair and Lynch, SmackDown Women's Championship, their feud was, Super Showdown was part of their ongoing feud. And Rousey and the Bella Twins teaming together. This show also sowed the seeds for that eventual feud, because I'm right in thinking that there was phases during the match where the Bellas would only tag each other and they'd leave Rousey on the apron, obviously building up to the hot face tag, but it was sowing the seeds of the obvious eventual build towards the main event of Evolution.
Possibly. WWE's not very subtle when it comes to things, but then again, wrestling fans aren't very good at taking subtle hints, so maybe giving a bit too much credit.
Or you've got those kind of wrestling fans that read something into everything. I suppose if you get used to watching New Japan, then those kind of details do actually tend to come to fruition, like a year or 18 months down the line, but I don't think it's quite what WWE do with their booking.
No, of course not. Vince thinks his audience are idiots, hence why they have the entire thing where if a wrestler's watching the television monitor, they have to stand at that weird angle with the monitor at like a complete fucking flat angle so the audience can see what they're watching.
Oh, God, yeah. That's Matthew's favourite thing to mention on Twitter. Do you remember in the Attitude Era, they used to do it more in that, because they weren't flat-screen TVs, obviously, they used to do it more in that the camera would be behind the TV and above, and you'd be watching the wrestlers would be front on and they'd be looking down at the telly, so it was still really obvious, but it seemed a bit more natural.
Or they showed the actual monitor, but they showed the back of the wrestler watching the screen.
Yeah.
Dead obvious they were watching it. A bit more visually appeasing as opposed to, why is that wrestler standing? There's no way they can actually see that screen at that angle properly. So, hypothetically, they're not even watching the show.
Right, we move on. WWE Evolution. This was... Well, let's go through the build, or I suppose to some people the lack of build, but I disagree actually. So a lot of people actually complain that this pay-per-view didn't have a lot of build and that they weren't treating it like a big landmark show. Some people actually thought that this was going to have a real house show feel to it, which I never got that impression.
No, same. I think those same people would complain otherwise, unless like even if they had like 6 weeks of build and every minute and every second was dedicated to the women on this show, I think they'd still find a way to complain about it.
Yeah.
I actually knew every match on this card that was taking place before the show took place. That's probably a good testament to how good they actually did it, as opposed to other pay-per-views where it's like, oh, that's happening tonight. I completely forgot.
Yeah. And if you consider the marquee matches, if you will, So you got the final of the Mae Young Classic, which is obviously a tournament that they've pushed quite hard in the last 2 years. You know, we've had 2 of those, and they're pushing that. So the final is taking place on this landmark pay-per-view. You've got the NXT Women's Championship, which, you know, on takeovers tends to be a very entertaining thing. So that's on there. That's been, you know, this rematch has been saved for the well, not saved, but this rematch has been used on this pay-per-view instead of what would be, you know, an obvious thing to do it at War Games. And then you've got possibly the best feud in the whole of WWE this year with Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. Possibly, that might be a controversial statement, but I do think it's been a very entertaining feud thus far.
I have to see how it concludes. I think it's still got a bit more mileage in it, yeah.
And then you've got, you know, Ronda Rousey headlining against Nikki Bella. Say what you want about Nikki Bella, and I know I do, but she was the record holder, well, the Divas title record holder, and there was a story. The story told about this was, well, I'm the women's champion. You was the diva. Divas set us back years. I'm taking us forward further than you will ever do. And Nikki and Brie kind of a lot of the build for them was, you know, actually bigging up the Divas era, I suppose it is in WWE, and that I thought that had a good story behind it.
Yeah, no, I fully agree with that. It was the right person for Ronda to face at this point. I think Rover made the mention of the Google search history or Google search algorithms or results which come up.
Weren't they very similar?
They're both very high.
Yeah.
So they would be daft not to capitalise on this match as of now. Nikki's a pretty consistent worker. She's a very good character.
Mm.
It was the right call to make. But as I said before, the pay-per-view was marked with matches that I knew every single match that was taking place on it. I was actually looking forward to the majority of them. Maybe one that was, you know, not really that fussed by. I think you could probably guess. Oh, the two. Tell a lie. 2.
I think one thing that did mar the build, and it's not anyone's fault because injuries happen in wrestling, as we bloody well know. But so obviously the first 2 matches that were announced were Trish Stratus against Alexa Bliss, which on paper sounds really interesting because Alexa gets quite a lot of comparisons to Trish, and that's the reason for it. And then I believe it was Lita and Mickie James that was announced as a match, and that sounded quite good. Obviously, both of those matches didn't come to fruition because of Alexa's injury, and so it ended up being Trish and Lita teaming up against Mickie James and Alicia Fox, of all people, in a tag match. And I think you went from 2 matches that could have been kind of, I suppose, a bit marquee to basically being the opening match on the card. I can see where people would be annoyed with that, but injuries happen. So, you know, what are you going to do?
Yeah, exactly that. They did the best they could. They've got 2 women in this match who haven't wrestled for years, or rather haven't wrestled consecutively for years. I mean, obviously they made appearances at the Royal Rumble, and then they've had to sacrifice Alexa Bliss, who's wrestled all the time, and put her in with Alicia Fox, who, I mean, they always point out that she's the longest serving woman on that entire roster.
Yeah.
But they barely give her any opportunity. I mean, she's basically getting over from like her escapades outside the ring and the occasional glimmer that she's given on the show. But they did the best they could with the actual match itself. Mickey's still like one of the best fucking wrestlers on that entire, you know, the women's roster. It was an okay tag team match. It was a bit weird. I thought maybe my heart of hearts, I thought obviously they're going to let Trish and Lita still go over because the WWE is absolutely fascinated and, you know, will never allow their newer talent to go over their older talent and then wonder why they can't make new stars. But I suppose it was the right call for an opening match.
Yeah. Should we run through the card?
Yeah, let's cut through.
So we had a dark match. So the new NXT UK Women's Championship was defended in a dark match. Rhea Ripley defeated Dakota Kai. People moaned about this because I believe Rhea Ripley's Australian, isn't she? And Dakota Kai is Irish. So a lot of people. Sorry, no, she's I can't remember. There is an Irish thing, but she's from New Zealand, I believe. So the UK Championship was fought between our friends from Australia and New Zealand. I don't give a shit about those kind of things. Wrestling fans gonna wrestle fan on Twitter especially, so people moaned about that, but whatever, it's just a dark match. Opening match, as mentioned, Trish Stratus Lita defeated Mickie James and Alicia Fox, as you would expect. I thought this was a pretty fun, nostalgic way to start.
Yeah, no, I agree. The only point was, what was it? I kept looking out for Lita's fucking Lita Salt, because I always think, Jesus Christ, she wrestled for fucking years prior, took a massive gap, and it's still not done properly. You know, she always necks herself nearly on the way fucking down.
It's almost as if she's not going to turn, and then she turns when she's like really close to the floor, and you kind of think, shit!
There was a big botch, though. It's the bit where Trish hits, I want to say Stratisfaction, that might be wrong, on Mickie. The ref's about to count for 3, but then doesn't actually count the third fall because he's waiting for Fox to break it up, and he actually hesitates and then waits for the break up. It's so fucking bad. Because you're under the impression that Vince is always like, we can't, I'd rather have the referee count a fucked 3, as opposed to revealing that wrestling is actually, fake. Even that's ridiculous in this day and age. But holy shit, I ain't seen one of them in a while.
The refs are told to shoot, basically, aren't they?
Yeah, but he literally stopped because obviously it was like, fuck, it's not supposed to finish at this point.
That gave me the impression that these matches were, because of the importance of this pay-per-view, these matches were quite very much rehearsed.
Yeah. That's Fox fucking up, but what can you do with it? I mean, fucking hell. What are you going to say? Alicia Fox and Mickie James are going over like the 2 most iconic fucking women's wrestlers from the entire Attitude Era. It's like, I did like the fact as well, it made me laugh. I mean, going back to an earlier point, Cole said the Attitude Era is back for one night only. And it's like, well, number 1, no, it's not. It's always fucking back whenever you get a chance. And number 2, it's like, of course, they go over, kill the new crop of wrestlers, and then wonder why fans can't get over them. I actually wrote that in my notes. It's like, minor points, but don't matter.
Although that wasn't the case for the next match on the card.
The Battle Royal? No.
20-woman Battle Royal. So this is for the number 1 contenders match. Let's just run through people involved, shall we?
Oh, fuck, you've actually got a list. Shit.
Well, let's just say, so Nia Jax won. She eliminated Ember Moon. And the Battle Royal was contested by Peyton Royce, Billie Kay, Molly Holly, Kelly, Tori Wilson. Oh, Tori. These are the nostalgic moments, I suppose. Certain, if you grew up in the Attitude Era and whatnot, these are the nostalgic nods that you look forward to because, being teenage boy.
Tori's a great wrestler. Oh, you're going for the other route.
Sonya Deville, Alundra Blaze. I think it was her first professional wrestling match in 17 years.
Jesus Christ.
Because she famously, when WCW went tits up in 2001, she famously became a monster truck driver.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't know that.
Yeah, if only she was knocking about in 95 at Halloween Havoc, maybe she would have, that might have been her inspiration. Who knows?
Make it freeway.
Maria Kanellis, Lana, Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke, Michelle McCall, Nomi, Carmella, Ivory, Asuka, fucking Asuka, Jesus Christ. If you would have said, right, even before or just after WrestleMania, that later in the year there's going to be an all-women's pay-per-view, you just think that she'd have something to do, right?
You'd think, but then this is WWE and jaded old fucks like us know how this company works.
So if you think about her year, unless she does something in the next couple of shows to end up the year, she's going to start the year by winning the first Royal Rumble, which was obviously a big thing, and she's going to end it by being eliminated in a 20-woman Battle Royal at the first women's pay-per-view.
She's in Survivor Series, so she'll get eliminated there.
Yeah, she ain't winning anything, is she?
It's basically the WWE is doing everything they can do with Asuka still as a face. They're going to completely dismantle her, and in an ideal sense, they'll build her back up as a monster heel, have her go over, and then repeat the cycle again. Unfortunately, they probably won't fucking do that, and then you've got the added bonus that WWE fans are fickle as fuck and won't allow a heel to be an actual heel and then cheer her when she's a heel.
I think in order to salvage what they've done, she needs to be the fucking biggest fucking heel ever. She might even need to get her Nazi gear out.
No, we don't need Nazi gear out.
No, but we'll get to stuff that's not on the par of Nazism, but isn't fascism. Yeah, they'd have to do some fucking good work to get her back to, marquee, name on the marquee. But anyway.
I have confidence in Triple H. It's everyone else in terms of booking her, I have no fucking faith whatsoever.
Mm.
But is there anyone else in this match?
Yep, just round it off. Tamina Snuka.
Oh, yeah.
Notice that she never gets called Tamina Snuka anymore. She's
I was
just
literally
Tamina.
about to say, just Tamina. We don't buy the surname.
No, wonder why. Selena Vega and Ember Moon, who was the last to be eliminated. Nia Jax won. She will have a women's championship match soon.
A few points.
Yep.
The biggest fucking thing in the match is where Nia gorilla press slams Zelina Vega into Tamina's fucking face.
Oh, God, yeah.
I know, fuck that.
Yeah.
No good from that. Nia did the exact same fucking speech at the end of the match as like WrestleMania.
Yep.
Or similar, I should say, not exact same. And Atta Johnson looked absolutely fucking miserable. Get that woman a fucking Xanax.
Or an Ambien.
An Ambien, yeah. Xanax will just make you sleepy, won't it? Ambien won't make you better.
Ambien makes you racist on Twitter, doesn't it? Yeah, so that was basically a match designed to get a lot of women on the card, but there are some noticeable omissions. There was no Nikki Cross on this pay-per-view.
Oh, right. Yeah, but Nikki's made a grand debut on SmackDown yesterday.
Yeah, but still, the whole when this pay-per-view was announced, it was basically announced that every woman would be on it. Now, I'm not saying that was a good idea. I'm not saying that going from 20-woman battle royal to a 32-woman battle royal, for example, just to get everyone on would be a good idea. But there are some noticeable omissions.
In terms of Nikki, would you have preferred her to just be a fucking nobody extra body in this match and then just get fucked over, as opposed to making a grand debut? But SmackDown's proven she's not even been given neither of them, so damned if you do. But it was an alright match.
Yeah, it was good. As battle royals go, it was good.
Yeah, exactly. I'm actually looking forward to Nia and Ronda. I thought they did a good match last time. Be interesting to see where they go with it again.
Okay, next up was the final of the 2018 Mae Young Classic. Toni Storm against Io Shirai. And Toni Storm got the win and won the Mae Young Classic. This was good, but I think the only thing that kind of hampered it was it went just over 10 minutes, and I think Meltzer and Alvarez summed this up quite well, actually, in that for like the first 8-9 minutes of this match, it looks like they're working like a 15-minute match, and then kind of the ending sequence just kind of comes out of nowhere and it ends. And I still think this was a good match. I think that if it would have got another 5 minutes, it would have possibly stolen the show, because these two ladies are fucking awesome. And the style of the match was, a lot of people seem to think it was very Japanese style, which I think is kind of right. Hard-hitting finishes were kicked out of and stuff like that. I enjoyed it, but I just think when it ended, it just left me wanting more. But I was very glad for Toni to get the win. See Toni Storm a lot on the British indie scene. It's where she's cut her teeth, as well as like Japan and Germany, WXW. But you see her a lot in progress, and she's great, really good. And you kind of think that if you want to build up women's wrestling over the next couple of years even more, and you want to do more of these pay-per-views, she's certainly someone who could do really, really good in WWE. She's just a really good worker.
I fully agree. I thought the match was very good. Obviously, with the injury to, her name escapes me now. That's me fucking showing my colours. Who got really fucking badly injured during the tournament?
Tegan Nox.
Because of the injury, obviously they've had to make do. Well, not make do, but they've had to improvise. Storm was the right person to win this match, as much as I really like Shirai. It's like I've been waiting for Shirai to join the WWE for like 5 fucking years, and it's great to see her now here.
Yeah.
I thought this match was good. I don't really agree with the testament that it needed an extra 5 minutes. I think it did everything it possibly needed to do in the time that they were given. And it was I just thought it was really good, really hard hitting. Both were very stylistically different from one another.
Yep.
Shirai is obviously just, typical stereotyping, but hard hitting Japanese style with some really impressive high impact moves. I mean, Jesus Christ, I don't know if is Shirai actually signed, or is this it now for her?
No, she's in NXT, I believe. She's been on the touring roster for NXT, as far as I'm aware.
She's just different ennugh from obviously Asuka and Sane.
She's not as She's not. Well, Kairi's like a character, isn't she? She's like that. Well, not pirate
yachting
princess,
beauty.
The yachting beauty. So she's obviously not as character driven. But yeah, I mean, if Kairi Sane, Io Shirai, and Asuka are three of the best Japanese women wrestlers of the last, that generate. It's an amazing generation. Obviously, there's more. Out there. But yeah, this was good. I thought it was. I only caught the odd episode of the Mae Young Classic. I did watch the semi-final episode, and that was really good.
There's too much fucking wrestling going around. So long-standing tournaments are a real fucking difficult one to just cover.
Yeah,
same problem happened to last year's one. But I really liked this match. I really did. It was better than I thought it was going to be, and I had quite high expectations for it. So big thumbs up for me. I also like the end of it as well. I think they were nice enough to give props to Sara Del Rey. I think they used the real name in the when they're giving flowers and stuff.
Yeah.
It felt like a big deal again as well. It'd be interesting to see if they do continue doing this tournament though, obviously, because the big fear is that the talent pool will eventually dissipate. But hopefully it'll keep going.
Yeah. And we look forward to the 2019 Mae Young Classic. Wonder who... Well, I imagine that'll be Tegan Nox's coming out party.
Surely, yeah. Unless her injury's super severe, but yeah.
6-woman tag match. Sasha, Bayley, Natalya defeated the Riot Squad. They can't fucking buy a win, can they, the Riot Squad?
No, they do all the heel shenanigans and build up, and then they come up on some pay-per-view. I mean, this pay-per-view is kind of like a big feel-good moment anyway, because it's the first women's pay-per-view, I should say. So maybe they're in the back of their minds thinking we can't have the actual heel unit go over. What was the thing? Obviously, there was a lot of screaming by Liv Morgan. There was a fucking weird thing by Cole. Interesting, though. Cole mentions that, I wrote it down, apparently Liv was suicidal at some point, but decided to persevere and be the absolute best she can be. Hence her name is Liv, as a play on words on live.
Yeah.
What a weird fucking thing to mention about your heel wrestler. Don't get me wrong, it's like, it's very inspirational, but Jesus Christ, it's a very dark thing to talk about when it's like, you're kooky mad.
Yeah, I guess that's inspirational to talk about Liv Morgan, but it did seem a bit out of place, didn't it?
Yeah, a bit strange, but again, it's just that maybe it's because the old school is like, heels are supposed to be fucking heels through and through, as opposed to saying like, a woman had a really, really dark period of her life and she's managed to center a wrestling character around herself, which is a play on words with her. But
yeah, agreed. Do you not see this match and just think of I know there have been injuries and stuff. That's probably the reason for it. Well, actually, that and just shit booking. But this pay-per-view, if you wanted to add another marquee match, you could have had the old Sasha Banks and Bayley finally doing their singles match.
Imagine you thinking naively that, Sasha Banks and Bayley, they're definitely still going to culminate in a feud, when in reality the writers were like, what, this feud that we've tried to book for 6 months, 18 months, however fucking long it went on for, bollocks to it. They're now a tag team, they're now proper best mates.
Yeah, it's just a bit odd, I guess, but as long as Sasha was injured, right, recently?
After the show.
Oh, was it after? Well, even there you go. There's no fucking excuse then.
I don't fucking know, man. It's like fucking... As sad as it is, regarding all 6 women in this match really didn't have to take place at all whatsoever, even though it has been built. I do feel kind of sorry because there is actually some fucking major players in this match.
Yeah.
But Jesus, it's just, with yourself, Alvarez and Meltzer saying, the previous match needed an extra 5 minutes for build. Maybe this should have been cut.
Maybe. This match got 13 minutes, and it actually got long. It got a minute longer than what Baszler and Kyrie got. So
For a non-title,
they gave it time. Yeah,
tag team match, I know, but what can you?
but again, glad that all 6 of these ladies got onto the card. Obviously, that's probably part of it. But yeah,
Exactly. I mean, you make do with what you can fucking do, I suppose. But it was nothing. It was fine.
Yeah.
As you say, it was just a pay-per-view payday for these 6, which is a shame. They probably deserve a lot more, or do deserve a lot more in some of their cases.
Yeah, agreed. As mentioned, next match, Shayna Baszler trying to regain her NXT Women's Championship against Kairi Sane, who beat her at the last takeover, and she did. She wins by technical submission. Kairi basically passed out in the choke, right?
Yep, they don't want to do a tap-out victory because it will undermine Kairi.
Yeah. This was decent.
Yeah, I thought it was a great match actually. I was shocked Baszler won, and that sounds ridiculous now, but it's like I thought they would have, keep the formula the same as it always has been. A woman wins the women's championship, holds it, loses it, and then gets promoted up. I thought surely that means Baszler's going to move up at some point, but I guess they keep her in NXT for the time being.
Yeah,
I thought it was a great match though. Again, it was a nice little sequel to the previous match, which I really enjoyed between these two as well.
Yeah, and I suppose this also was designed to introduce some of the members of the Four Horsewomen, right?
Yeah, Jessamine Duke and Maria Shafir, is that how you pronounce it?
That sounds about right.
So, edit that. 2 of the 4 horsewomen in the MMA, 3 of them were involved in this match. I'm sure we'll get to know their names much more in the coming months.
Yeah, I'm sure that was a big part of this story. It'd be quite cool if it was Shayna was leading like a trio of heel bastard MMA fighters.
And what culminates it in her going against Ronda.
I still think that would be a great way for Shayna to be promoted to the main roster, her and Ronda going at it. And then,
I suppose Ronda being so successful in her fucking career thus far, it's like they can't book her as a fucking heel anytime soon because.
I'm starting to think she never will be. I'm starting to think that they're just gonna have that Cena thing for her, and that how can we have her as a heel? You know?
I think they'll get in that mindset. I don't think the crowd will appreciate that, but we can get into that in more detail later. But I thought this all the way to this match. I thought this was a really good match. I'm not a fan of Sane's new music; it needs more yo-hos. But it was it had some nice little throwbacks to their previous NXT takeover encounter. Looking forward to seeing what the other 2 ladies can contribute to NXT. And Baszler is fucking menacing. Jesus Christ.
Yes, she is. Yeah, she's great.
Super fucking menacing. Absolutely great. Looking forward to what more for her second title reign can deliver.
Yeah, she's the first 2-time NXT Women's Champion, right?
Yeah, fully worthy of it though. She's been
Sure.
She's been on top of it. She's been on top of her game.
Right, that's followed by probably the best built match on the whole card.
Yeah.
Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, SmackDown Women's title, last woman standing match. This was brilliant.
Yeah. There's no sugarcoating it.
No, I mean just got to call a spade, isn't it? It's a great match. Doesn't you know what? Trying to avoid doing like any kind of comparisons to men's pay-per-views and whatever. The whole point of Evolution is that let's start. This is an evolution. This is women starting to get a similar footing in WWE, so they're getting their own pay-per-views and stuff. And we'll get to Crown Jewel in a minute and about why this pay-per-view may well have come about. But ignoring all that, this isn't just a good women's match. This is possibly one of the best This is probably top 5, top 3 matches on the whole main roster this year.
Yeah, I was going to say, because my final note on this was a grand hardcore match.
Yeah.
I didn't mention anything about the fact that it had 2 women in it. It literally was like, regardless of gender, whoever was in this match, it would still be fucking fantastic anyway.
Mm.
It goes without saying. Charlotte and Becky are both 2 phenomenal wrestlers. They both work wonders with each other.
Yeah.
And this was just a fantastic weapons brawl. It really was. There's no fucking, as we said before, no sugarcoating it. It literally was magnificent.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was fantastic. Nice and violent. Some good spots. Becky getting such babyface reactions, being the heel, being a bit chicken shit at times. Lots of selling for Charlotte, and even in the end, there was an emphasis on her being upset that she didn't win, and whatever people feel about the way this is being booked, it isn't being. I mean, I think it's quite a well booked feud in the story that's coming off on television, but I don't think it's actually playing out the way they want it to.
No, I mean, as you mentioned in the previous, when Becky turned, it was dead obvious that the grand plan was Charlotte would be face, Becky would be the horrible heel who's turned against her friend, and that would be the end of it. And instead, now they've had to fucking settle with Becky is a heel, but she's justified in her actions because of previous actions made by Charlotte, and Charlotte is heel to the crowd, even though a lot of her actions are just merely revenge against that. Again, is justified, but she's done bad shit previous. Whoa, there's a load of shades of grey in this women's title match, even though I hate fucking women.
Well, God, yeah, that's your best Russo impression yet. So the thing that gets me is that if Charlotte against Ronda is the WrestleMania match that they're booking towards, Charlotte has to go heel sooner or later.
I don't think that's the case anymore.
You don't think it would be Ronda against Charlotte?
No, not anymore. It'd have to, as you say, they'd have to do a complete 180 on her character with 4 months.
That's what I'm saying.
The only way would literally be just book it as it currently is, and then just have her quickly do it, which is probably now what they're going to do. Pretty
what, like a face WrestleMania 6 kind of match?
If they were really fucking smart, rather than do it as Survivor Series, with her momentum currently, do Lynch and Ronda at WrestleMania first time.
Yeah, but we'll get to, they're not doing that, so.
No, they're not. They're literally doing it in 2 weeks.
Which is going to be good.
It's going to be good. It's dead obvious what the fuck they're going to do, but it's going to be good. That's the main thing. But,
yeah.
This was great. What was your favourite part of the match? I'd say the burial spot.
Yeah, I liked...
So fun. It was so funny. It was literally like, I'm going to just bury fuck out of you. And she comes out like fucking Lazarus, absolutely steaming pissed off. And Becky's like, no, I don't want to keep doing this anymore. Crowd's pissed off as well, which makes it even funnier.
I like those spots in Last Women's Standing matches.
Done it a few times now, though, haven't they? Bury people with chairs, tables, fuck it, everything, and then the rest just comes out, and it's like
I like the bit. I always enjoy spots in a match when the heel champion wants to walk away. So they grab their belt and they start walking away. I thought that was quite good. I also like it in when they show the rules of a last man standing match. So that if there's a count going on, and you then attack your opponent during the count resets, and that happened during the match. I quite enjoyed that. It was just good. Really, I think it was good storytelling, and I'm just, as long as Becky is in good matches that get good time and she's got a good focus on her, the crowd love her. She's really entertaining to watch. I remember when she got repackaged in NXT and she just came back. They got rid of the leprechaun, fucking basically. She got rid of that. I'm Irish, I'm doing to do my jig, dancing around. And she
River
came back
dance, that's still a thing, isn't it?
Yeah. And she came back as Becky Lynch, and she was just fucking suplexing people around. And ever since then, I've just kind of thought I just really enjoyed watching her. She's just a really good wrestler. Flair's a good wrestler. I think Flair gets some unnecessary stick sometimes. I think she is pushed a bit much, and I think it's obvious why, but whatever. She is good. You can't deny she's good.
Yeah, I think you'd be fucking mad to say otherwise,
but people do. People don't like her. Yeah. So we move on. Main event of Evolution: Ronda Rousey, Nikki Bella, Raw Women's title match, because obviously Raw has the main event. But then again, it's Ronda fucking Rousey, so she's got a main event.
Yeah, to be fair.
Yeah, this went 14 minutes. Ronda won by submission. And I thought, if you'd have said to me before the match started, this is going to go nearly 15 minutes, I'd have gone, oh shit, this could be a disaster. But it wasn't. It was very good. Nikki, again, I think I'm guilty of it. I think Nikki had a period. Oh, excuse me. Nikki went through a phase when she drastically improved a couple of years ago. I think she was a good heelish champion when that Diva run. I thought that was quite entertaining. Yeah, I just think, and obviously her career was kind of cut short during that big monster run by her neck injuries, and I just think the name Bella for some reason just adds negativity in your mind sometimes. But this was really good. I thought it was good. It maybe could have shaved a few minutes off, but Ronda's great. Ronda's just getting, for someone who's technically incredibly green, she's just picking this stuff up really well. She did some really good promos for the build for this match. Some great promos.
That was probably one of the most bigger moments of Raw for the past few months.
Literally. You're right. One where, it was like
the John's in a bedroom.
Yeah, it was great. I'm knocking down. What was it? I'm knocking down the walls of for women's MMA. You're knocking on John Cena's bedroom or whatever it was, something like that.
The only door you've ever knocked down is the door to John Cena's bedroom.
Yeah, great line. Apparently that's apparently her and Heyman write her promos.
That would not surprise me. Obviously, everything gets fucking pre-screened though as well. That's what makes it even funnier.
So Heyman helps her out, but apparently they give her the not creative control, brother, but they let her do what she wants on that.
The other infamous little line, which I think they cut out of this promo, I'll be proven wrong on that, don't worry, where she says about smallpox, I'm going to eradicate you like smallpox. And that's definitely not something that WWE writer came up with, because it was a little bit, okay, that's a bit corny, but fuck it sounds real. It sounds like something that someone would actually say who doesn't have writing experience. And again, the thing is, we still fucking remember what it mostly is, as opposed to how fucking homogenized all WWE promos are. Still remember it. But this match was, it was what I expected it to be brutally honest. I knew there was going to be fucking shenanigans. But the other thing, as you rightly say, is if you was to say at the start of the year, oh, by the way, Ronda Rousey and Nikki Bella are going to headline the first women's pay-per-view, it's going to go 15 fucking minutes, I'd probably like fucking clawing my eyes out, going like, avoid this shit. But it was actually very solid. It was really good. There was actually moments where I thought they're actually going to give the belt to Nikki. It's like a big, the chase. Imagine the chase of Ronda trying to get the belt back from Nikki as our main storyline coming out of Evolution. But thankfully she didn't do that.
Yeah,
I thought it was a good match, though. I thought it was a good match. Nikki deserves a lot more credit than she gets in terms of her wrestling ability. And Ronda, as you say, it's crazy how fucking good she is at this point in her career.
I mean, I suppose she's still green as goose shit, really, when you think about it, in terms of matches on television and on pay-per-view. And there are still people that will tell you that she's on TV too much and that she needs to be a special attraction. Bullshit. If the way she's going right now, she's fucking great, and I enjoy watching her. She obviously isn't doing it just for money. She's being paid very well, obviously, but stars do get paid well. She's obviously doing it because that's what she wants to do. It's awesome, and if it means that off the back of signing her, things like this become a norm within WWE, then in the future people will look back at her run in WWE very positively. It's entertaining, and it's
I was going to say her first year up as of now has been fucking nothing short of phenomenal. It's been one of the best rookie years anyone could ever ask for.
I know, right? It's like fucking Riddle's first year on the Indies. It's just like, shit, she's fucking good. Yeah.
Or Lesnar's first 6 months in 2002.
Yeah.
Literally just bulldozed everyone, had good matches. You can't ask for fucking anything else. She's actually really been good. Really good.
Yeah, and I do think the Flair Rousey thing is the build, because I think if you're going to compare that Lesnar run, I think Flair is her rock.
They would be daft not to, but the way I feel like Flair has lost a little bit of momentum in this storyline. Maybe she's lost it a little bit as opposed to Becky, who seems to have just been given a yard and taken a fucking mile with it.
Nothing a women's Rumble win won't fix in January.
That's true. Which I suppose she would be odds favourite to win at this point. And again, as I mentioned in the previous match, it's what do you call it? All they'd have to do is literally just build it exactly the same way as they've currently done. Just have Flair gradually get a bit more heelish in terms of build, and then people will just boo her regardless, and it'll just be a natural heel transition, as opposed to what they're currently doing, which is Charlotte. I think is still technically face.
Yeah,
and it's daft.
True. Yeah. So at the end of this match, celebrations. All of the women were on the ramp, I believe.
Shatter kayfabe.
They did shatter it a bit, but I think it was just a nice moment.
Wade Keller dies.
Well, yeah, yeah. Kayfabe.
They just had a fucking matches. Why are they on the stage?
Yeah.
Stop it! Stop it! My childhood. Stop it!
It's still real to me, damn it. Yeah, it was.
I watched TV on the Botchamania angle as well. That's fucking hilarious. I think they're doing it on purpose now. It's like, we know Matthew's going to fucking tweet us, and that will get eyes on the product.
Yeah, it was a good show. I mean, top to bottom, it's top 3 shows WWE have done this year. Maybe even fucking number 1 at the moment. Who knows? But
I'll probably say it is the best. What comes close to it? Hell in a Cell. Not NXT. Don't include NXT.
I'm not including. No, I'm not. No.
I don't know what comes close to it. The Rumble was quite good, except now retrospectively it's a bit
pointless.
The only issue with Evolution, and it was the issue that everyone was going to have, was the fucking virtue signaling. We get it, WWE. You're very progressive. You have women wrestle on a pay-per-view. You have a lot of women wrestling on a pay-per-view. But you don't need to shove it down everyone's fucking throats. We all know that you're a scumbag company still. 3.5 hours isn't going to fucking spare us from the 4-hour fucking monotonous absolute shit show that you've got coming up next.
Right. So, scumbag company, you say? That leads us on to, I suppose, the main event of this episode.
What we've been preluding to. Much like Super Showdown, much like Raw and SmackDown has been.
Yeah, so, WWE Crown Jewel. Would you say the build to this show was, well, it was fucking awful, wasn't it? And I'm not even talking about in terms of matches. I'm talking about just the fucking, why the fuck are they going? Well, I mean, let's just get it out of the way. They even said it as much on Investor Call. They are going to do Crown Jewel because of the money.
Pretty much. Why are we getting scrutinised when other businesses like Domino's are, they have and KFC have businesses in Saudi Arabia? Why is everyone getting on our fucking shit?
Well, they don't use Domino's and KFC as propaganda, do they?
All they probably did was lure a critic to a foreign embassy in a different land, murder him, and do fuck knows what with his body.
All right, so on that, the underlying controversy. What the fuck happened?
This is where we play the Mario music in the background.
Well, maybe. That might be deemed a tad disrespectful, but go on. What happened?
Oh fuck! What, with Crown Jewel or
So what? Fuck. Why is it controversial?
Kamal Khashoggi, I believe he was going to the Saudi Arabian embassy in Istanbul. He went in to get his marriage certificate or to get it confirmed.
So he's a journalist. He's from Saudi Arabia. He's a journalist. He is critical of the regime, and he moved to America, wrote for the Washington Post. I believe he was an American citizen. I could be wrong, but I believe he was an official American citizen. And he wants to get married, and in order to get married, I think he needed something agreed or signed, or he needed to talk to someone in order to get married. So he was told to go to the Saudi Arabian consulate in Istanbul, where upon entering, he was jumped by, some reports say 5, some reports say 15 men, and then subsequently murdered. He was chopped up into little bits. Some say he was burnt in, his body was destroyed in acid. Some say he was buried in several different locations. Some say that the whole thing was recorded so that the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, who ordered, allegedly, actually no, it's all pretty much confirmed now, isn't it? So yeah, his murder was ordered. It was allegedly filmed and recorded by sound, although all embassies and consulates are bugged. So there is audio of this. And yeah, they denied it for a couple of days when mounting.
No, they denied it for 3 weeks.
Yeah, when the evidence was very clearly mounting up, showing that they were talking bollocks, they admitted to it, but they said it was an accidental death. This is going on. He's an American citizen. He's a journalist, so a lot of this comes down to the whole point of, you can't slag us off, we're going to murder you. This isn't the first time this has happened, allegedly. So, yeah, this is going on. The world is shocked and horrified. Countless businesses have pulled out of events in Saudi Arabia as a result of this. Saudi Arabia is being absolutely slammed on the world stage. But little old WWE, stay quiet. They kind of address it every now and then. And there is a 2-week period where it's kind of will they, won't they. The word is that if they were told by the government that they couldn't go, they weren't going to go. But no such message come. And yeah, as mentioned, on a kind of investor call, they did say that as far as they're aware, they're going to go over there, and they're doing it for the money. Simple as. Apparently, it's like $50 million a year or $45 million a year for 10 years to do these shows. Apparently, they don't have enough money, considering this time next year they're going to be one of the fucking richest sports organisations.
Got to pay for that XFL flop.
Well, quite, yeah. It's been very, very, very negative. Lots of people writing about it, talking about it. It's been featured on John Oliver, who's been taking, I wouldn't even say he's been taking the piss. He's just been really criticising them. But one thing about John Oliver and other shows like that is, I guess, the only people that watch it are the people that are already outraged by it. So, and yeah, another thing it is often mentioned, but Linda McMahon is on the fucking. She's part of like Trump's cabinet, right? And it's like,
yeah, she's in charge of small businesses.
Yeah, Small Business Administration.
That's quite hilarious, really.
Oh, yeah,
that was what one of the biggest issues was, because ultimately the WWE is an American company which does have links to Donald Trump by proxy because of Linda McMahon working for his administration. So the idea is that people will criticizing it because it would literally be, adding 2 and 2 together and saying like, well, this is a company that has links to Donald Trump that's still committing business in Saudi Arabia despite this horrific thing taking place. So is that a reflection on Donald Trump's cabinet? To which they say, no, Linda gave up her shares years ago to get into the American politics.
Mm.
I feel like to give the WWE the benefit of the doubt, they're in between a rock and a really fucking hard place. I feel like if they really it's dead obvious that the roster as well do not want to go or did not want to fucking go. But yeah, they too are absolutely fucked. The WWE is fucked because they have to commit a business relationship, which ultimately they're hoping will just pass over. And by the time it comes to next April, they're hoping this will, they can go back to the progressive, that come to Saudi Arabia, we've got booze, way of thinking. Yeah. Instead, this time they've had to deal with the fallout of a horrific murder, which as of now is still completely unresolved. They've not found the poor bastard.
They're not going to find him.
No, they're not going to fucking find him.
Also, it's worth adding just a few more bits to it that added to it based on the previous show, right? So women can't perform on these shows, which is part of the evolution thing. In that, is it a coincidence that they did their first ever women's pay-per-view mere days before a show which is the sequel to a show which was very publicly criticised for not letting women wrestle? I don't think that's a coincidence.
No, I think evolution was always going to happen, but because of the greatest Royal Rumble and the controversy surrounding it, I think it sped up plans that it had to take place.
Yes, I think that's probably correct. Yeah. So
they had an opportunity in October, and they thought, "Fuck it, just do it in October," and then hopefully people will go like, "Well, I know they're constrained by the limitations that they can, they can't have women wrestle because of the country's culture. So at least they're doing something." But unfortunately, that leads to the other thing of saying, like, why are you still fucking going there?
Mm. Okay, so you got the women element. You've got the fact that at Greatest Royal Rumble, Sami Zayn wasn't allowed to perform.
Yeah, because of he is of Syrian descent. He's Canadian. He's Canadian, and there's been a fuckload. There's been a mini trade war which culminated in Saudi Arabia threatening some sort of 9/11 reference on Twitter to Canada. Did you see that? Where they showed it was the Canadian cityscape with a load of airplanes aimed towards it.
Jesus Christ.
A bit on the nose.
So you got that element to it, which apparently, according to Meltzer, was part of the reason why Daniel Bryan did pull out of the show, but we'll get to that. And then also the Greatest Royal Rumble was a massive propaganda piece. The amount of shilling they did for this government, this regime, talking about how progressive Saudi Arabia.
Women can drive.
Yeah, video
accompanied by a male relative, and God help you if she shows her hair.
Video packages and stuff like that. It's just like the Greatest Royal Rumble left a bit of a didn't leave just a bit. It left a sour taste, and then obviously they're going to go back. Okay, great, whatever. But then you've got this whole thing with the journalists, and it's just so seedy and scummy, and it's so fucking carny wrestling. But and I think the amount of organisations that did pull out of contractual obligations and events and stuff like that with Saudi Arabia. Basically, one of the excuses WWE cited for going was that they were going to go ahead as planned, citing contractual obligations. Basically, it just meant that they wanted the money, and they didn't want to pull out of this 10-year deal they have.
It's like, come on, guys, $50 million. Can't we just forget about one brutal murder for one day just so we can go and do our fucking World Cup?
Yeah, and it's just horrible. But yeah, there you go.
It's been an absolute shit show. Absolute shit show. I think the longer this goes on, the more eyes are going to be on the fucking product, and it's going to be bad, and it's going to be more people passing on, oh, they did this, they did that, and it's just going to spread more ill will towards Saudi Arabia.
Yeah,
all the propaganda in the world is not going to help that country whatsoever, because ultimately they're just going to remember the fact that a bloke went into an embassy in Turkey, wasn't even in fucking Saudi Arabia, and the country lied for 3 weeks to say that they definitely didn't murder him, despite the fact that there was evidence that completely contradicted them.
There was evidence that he went into the building. There was no evidence to suggest he ever left the building.
A man who looked like him with the exact same clothes left the building.
Did that happen?
Yeah, that did happen.
Jesus wept.
Yeah, there's a footage of a bloke who looks exactly the same with the same clothes on.
Probably got his face on.
I think it's the Turkish. I think the Turkish Secret Service said that the CCTV footage of a bloke who looked exactly the same walking out, as if like, what the fuck is that? He said like they've lived there. I think their exact words were, "Why on earth is there a body double leaving that embassy for an interrogation? What the fuck? This is obviously a predetermined murder. Why the fuck would they need a bloke to look like it as an alibi?"
Also worth noting that Kane, or Glenn Jacobs, is the Knox County mayor. So you've got a elected official going over there, being paid, and I know he donated some or all of his fees to charities and whatnot, but still, it's not a good look, is it?
No, but I'm sure they can spin it. I'm sure he can spin it.
So, as well
There's
as
so much shit on this fucking thing, and
I know,
we ain't got the matches.
So, as well as this,
there's more
in the run-up. More WWE based now. In the run-up, Roman Reigns, who was going to be defending his Universal title in the triple threat match against Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar. That's just before I get to that, obviously, horrible bit of news that we're going to talk about. But another thing is that this match was going to... This event is Shawn Michaels coming out of retirement for millions of dollars, because you're paying these people blood money to show, because it's all for their, just to see, they just want, oh, it's a big show, we're billionaires, let's just pay whatever we want. Brock Lesnar, who has, apparently left WWE to try and go back into UFC, he's getting paid millions, so he's turning up. You got the fucking mayor of Knoxville turning up for money, which, whatever, charity. You've still got people on WWE shilling the show. So like John fucking Layfield going on Fox News, obviously, and talking about how, yeah, we're going to go, blah, blah, blah. He's a cunt. We don't need to fucking... don't need to talk about him.
Blocks done.
Right? So then you've got John Cena. John Cena is currently making some pretty decent ripples in Hollywood, making some decent movies and got offers all over the place. That's why we don't see him that much anymore.
The official words are, he could be The Rock, but better.
Maybe. Well, we'll see. So his PR agency or whatever have obviously got in his ear. He's pulled out of the show. And it was long-winded, but Daniel Bryan pulled out of the show as well.
Right, and then we get to talk about, what do you call it? Because apparently Daniel Bryan made the decision long before, at least before Super Showdown, to say,
Is that right?
I'm not going to Saudi Arabia. Yet they booked him to beat Miz in 3 minutes, and up until the final SmackDown prior to the show, was still booked to face AJ Styles in the WWE title match.
Yeah.
Now, logic to me thinks, deep down, maybe Vince was trying to swindle him and go like, "Pow, it's one show. We're going to bring democracy to this country. I can't even remember who the fuck it is."
Also, Finn Balor pulled out, but he just politely asked, "I don't want to be there," and they obliged. Because obviously he does a lot of LGBT advocacy stuff. So.
Yeah. And the other thing as well is, just going back to Daniel, I'm 95% sure the other reason would be Vince would just troll the shit out of his audience and be like, "Well, pal, fuck it. You're going to beat Miz in 3 minutes. Fuck having a 15-minute classic with him, even though you've both proven you can wrestle with each other. We're going to book it to the last minute. Fuck them."
So you got all of that as well. And then obviously the big news during the build for this was that Roman Reigns has leukemia again. I wasn't aware that he'd had leukemia before, but his leukemia has returned.
One very tiny mention of a serious illness when his American football career came to an end. They said he had a serious illness which led to the end of it. But that's literally the only thing I've mentioned. They never mentioned it by name. They never mentioned what it was, but they said it was serious enough that he had to leave.
Yeah. So he opened Raw a week or 2 weeks before this show, actually, and announced that he was stepping away from wrestling for a while to battle leukemia. I'm just going to say this now. I find any mention by commentators of wrestling, not commentary teams, but commentators of wrestling who start talking about, "Oh, well, babyface this and that." I find that very distasteful. He's got fucking, it's like leukemia is cancer, right?
Yes, blood cancer.
Yeah, blood cancers. Thank you. So this is fucking serious. It's fucking heartbreaking to see. It's just another really horrible step on this road to this horrible fucking show. You've lost your champion and your face of your company, regardless of what fucking fans want to do. Someone put a thing on Twitter actually, and it was really, really, really kind of sad to watch, but also quite touching. There's a bit where just before he starts the promo, even then it's not a promo, even before he starts talking about his leukemia, he's getting booed, and you can see him, he looks around at the crowd being booed, and just before he lifts the mic up, he smiles to himself, because even the fucking boos, you could just see on his face that he's going to miss it.
Yeah.
And it's just fucking heartbreaking. So yeah, you've lost the face of your company, someone that I criticize the booking, whatever, but as a performer, big fan. And there's still people that go, "Oh yeah, well when he comes back, he's going to get that babyface reaction that they always wanted him to get." And I find shit like that quite distasteful.
I think they're kind of undermining how serious his illness is. This is not something.
He's he's dying at the moment. He's going to fight an illness which is killing him. So it's fucking horrible. So you've got this. This happened. I'm hoping. Apparently, according to Meltzer and stuff like that, apparently he has a form of leukemia which, although all forms of leukemia are very serious, he has one that, it might be rough. It might be a rough few months, but it's treatable, and people seem to be positive that at first that he'll survive this, and that he might make a return. I think if you get leukemia a second time, then there's no guarantee you won't get it a third time in your life, but whatever. I'm no doctor, just from what you read. So yeah, you've got that as well as a backdrop behind this fucking horrible show. Yeah, there you go. That's kind of the build towards Crown Jewel.
It's got everything you don't want.
Everything you don't want. Murder, lies, dictatorships or regimes or whatever that basically will murder LGBT people. Don't let women do anything. very oppressive culture. But if they pay you in blood money, certain organisations will do it. One question: what do you? I mean, I watched half of the show, and then I kind of watched highlights of the other half. What do you feel about? Obviously, we're being very critical of it. What do you feel about people being critical but then still watching it?
Like us, basically.
Well, I'm not saying it's like I'm not saying we're hypocrites or anything. I just thought it'd be interesting to cover because like people like Jay Hunter from OSW refuses to even mention it, and anyone who asks him, "Oh, you're doing a review of it?" He says, "Nope, didn't even watch it, won't ever acknowledge it," and stuff like that. And I respect that. That's fine. Obviously, I think it's. I don't think they should have done the show, and it's horrible and stuff. But I was sitting at home, and I knew it was on, and I'd sat there knowing it was on for a few hours, and I just kind of put it on to watch the last half of it, basically, which is probably hypocritical, is what I'm saying. But there's a lot of talk about that as well.
In my opinion, wrestling's always been a scumbag business. It's never going to shake that fucking image ever whatsoever. So the idea that people are now discovering that shit, wrestling's really shady. Oh shit, wrestling deals with some really bad fucking people. It's laughable. If, as Meltzer said, if you're going to get worked up about something like this, why are you still fucking watching? They shouldn't have done the fucking show. They should have just. I know that. Well, I mean, monetary wise, they should have said that circumstances in social circumstances have changed the prospect of this. We can't, in our right minds, perform here. Take the knock on the. Well, they've taken the fucking knock on the stock, which was looking about mid-$80, and now it's.
I think it might have hit $90 or $88 at one point. It's in the 60s or 50s now, isn't it?
No, it's in the low 70s.
Oh, it's gone back up a bit then.
Yeah. Things will recover. They shouldn't have done the show. I've nothing but respect for people that actually stick to their moral principles and say, like, I'm not actually going to watch the show, and actually don't watch the show.
Yeah.
People that you're never going to hear it, but it's the people that say that they're not going to watch the show, but then watch the show anyway. I'm always going to watch these shows because I'm just an idiot for wrestling. I always watch wrestling. They could fucking have it in like an irradiated field for all I care, and I'd probably watch it just for the morbid curiosity for it.
Yeah, I never said I wouldn't watch it, but I kind of. Yeah, I mean, I was very against it, so, that's just where it comes from.
Yeah, same as it. I think if you have some sort of moral compass, you can, but ultimately, I think myself and you and the vast majority of people with any sort of knowledge towards wrestling know that this is just a drop in the hat. Wrestling's done wacky shit like this before. WCW had a fucking crossover event in North Korea back in the 80s or 90s.
That's the biggest ever attendance for a wrestling show ever.
Don't ever fucking mention that fucking statistic, do they?
Mm.
But I think if the WWE is smart, this is only going to cause ripple effects and do the Streisand effect. That's the word I want to. That's the term I want to look for. The Streisand effect is where Barbra Streisand asked a publication to not take a photo of her house because she didn't want people to find out about it, and it made everyone there knows about Streisand's house on the fucking lake because now everyone publicises it because of hilarious it is. I think Saudi Arabia have underestimated just how detrimental this is going to be to the public persona. Anyway, this show was shit.
This show was awful. So let's run through it.
Let's make some people laugh. Come on, Reese. Let's make people laugh. First and foremost, who made his grand return opening this fucking pay-per-view?
So Vince McMahon, not happy with the amount of controversy that he'd caused already, thought he'd double down on the controversy and bring back leader of the Ku Klux Klan, Hulk Hogan.
Oh, that's allegedly.
Allegedly.
Hello, Joe.
Sorry, brother.
First of all, we had a dark match. We had Shinsuke Nakamura beating Rusev for the US title.
Yeah, whatever.
Obvious, whatever. But to open the fucking show, of course, the Hulkamaniacs went mild in Saudi Arabia.
It comes burning down and it hurts inside.
Don't you find it a bit ironic that there's a fucking stadium of tens of thousands of people singing "I'm a Real American"?
It's a casino, wasn't it?
That can't be fuck off casino.
Wasn't the stadium they were in before? They changed.
No,
venues.
it were. No, they didn't sell enough tickets.
Apparently, it was free. It was free to attend, and it was off the back of a casino or so. I could be wrong. That could be. Actually, sorry. Why would they have a casino in a very strict Muslim? Yeah, sorry, I'm talking bollocks. I think it was like more of an big open courtyard that events happening.
It's the university stadium.
Hence why there was no lighting rig, and they had to put that really horrible
Jesus
big rig
Christ. What a shit show. This show has everything. Really does have everything in terms of how not to do a wrestling pay-per-view. So Hogan comes out. He does his 2 minutes. He earns his $1.5 million. It's his first major return to a wrestling ring in 3 years.
He was the host of the show, but he only showed up for 2 minutes. Then he probably was on a plane by the time the show ended.
Yeah, the one of the matches I really wanted him to come out and make good, but he didn't even fucking do that. So cheers, Hogan, you cunt.
Right, let's just get through this.
Let's go quick.
Rey Mysterio defeated Randy Orton in a World Cup quarter-final match. So because Qatar has the Football World Cup, Saudi Arabia wanted the WWE World Cup. So that's what we got. We got a World Cup that was participated by 8 Americans.
Just like the American World Series in baseball. I know they have Japan, don't they?
No, the World Series in baseball is American, but it's not called the World Series because of the World. It's called the World Series because I believe it was sponsored by a newspaper that was called the World, and they just kept the name. I believe.
I'm an idiot.
I could be wrong, but I believe that is the case.
Bottom line, don't book a World Cup with all Americans. It's fucking stupid.
It is. We'll get to the even more stupid stuff for that in a sec. Other quarterfinal, The Miz defeated Jeff Hardy. The next one, Seth Rollins defeated Bobby Lashley. And then rounding out the quarterfinals, Dolph Ziggler defeated Kurt Angle. Jesus Christ. His first single match in... they keep saying it's his first single match in 13 years or whatever stupid thing it was. But it's his first single match since his return.
We don't talk about TNA, pal. Oh, he doesn't even know what TNA is. We don't talk about the Dark Years, pal.
His last singles match was against Cody Rhodes in Milton Keynes for...
What Culture?
What Culture? Now Defiant Wrestling. So there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did it at the Ice Arena, I think. Could be wrong. But yeah, there you go. So there's your quarterfinals. We had The Bar defending their SmackDown Tag Team Championship against The New Day, which was probably one of the most normal matches on the card.
Yeah.
So the semi-finals of the World Cup, The Miz defeated Rey Mysterio because 50-50 booking, brother, as Mysterio beat him on Raw. SmackDown. Dolph Ziggler defeated Seth Rollins with fucking shenanigans with Drew McIntyre aplenty. That was actually a decent match, I thought.
Yeah.
Probably the best match on the whole card, to be honest.
Better than 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. Oh, fucking 2, right, yeah.
Yeah, so flashbacks.
So Daniel Bryan pulled out, had his title match on SmackDown prior to the show. At the end of that match, Samoa Joe attacked both him and AJ, which meant that, Samoa Joe gets another title match. So they kind of just added a little continuation to their previous feud. AJ, yeah, exactly. AJ beat Samoa Joe. Kind of house showy match. Just ended with it wasn't bad, but it just wasn't great.
It's fine.
Yeah.
A lot of the wrestlers do seem absolutely fucked from this journey coming in.
Yeah. And then we get to the fuckery. So, Brock Lesnar returns to WWE. It's supposed to be a triple threat match. Obviously, Roman Reigns isn't in the WWE right now.
Very ill, so...
Yeah. Singles match against Braun Strowman. Everyone and their fucking nan thought Braun would win because logic dictates that he should win.
Hey, I did a very vague tweet saying, Braun should win, but WWE might, in their insanity, go like, what if Brock comes into UFC with the big red belt? Think of the cross promotion. Think of who's not going to buy the pay-per-view.
No one thought that Brock would win for good reasons. Anyone who thought Brock would win thought he'd win because
That's what I mean.
Swerve, fuck you all. So, yeah,
That's pretty much it.
The match is about to start. Baron Corbin, who's like the sheriff of Raw, which again is, or Constable Corbin, whatever the fuck his name is. Absolute cunt gimmick, doesn't matter. I don't mean that. And I don't mean that. I don't mean that in a hill way. I mean that in it is just a shit cunt gimmick. Anyway,
I like him. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
I like him. I hate this whole gimmick thing. It's bollocks. Anyway, the match is about to start. He blasts Braun with the belt. The match then proceeds to be 3 minutes of fire, which consisted of 5 F5s, 3 in a row, then a very brief flurry from Braun, which constituted of a big boot, and I think maybe that was it. I think he reversed or dodged a Irish whip, got a big boot in, but then he was then basically F5 to the outside, which looked like a fucking horrible bump.
Dude, Jesus Christ, he dumped him.
I know, right? Imagine the size of Braun as well. He got back in the ring. He was F5'd again. He had 5 F5s, and he lost.
Thank you, fuck you, bye.
Thank you, fuck you, bye. So that's just total bollocks.
Yeah, this was the low point of the evening. No, it wasn't actually tonight. Absolutely. If you've listened to any of our episodes, you might have noticed a recurring pattern where I'm like, until SummerSlam was getting progressively more fucked off with Brock Lesnar's Universal title reign, which was mostly shit. We now have him in his second title reign, with the added bonus that the WWE has enough money now to pay him his ludicrous amounts that he's demanding, and the added bonus that he's going to take even less bumps now because he's probably still training for a UFC fight that may or may not happen.
Yeah, also worth noting that all of the main stars on this show they were getting paid by WWE, I'm sure, but the main money was coming from the Saudis because they wanted them on the show.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's rumours that he got paid as much as $5 million for 3 minutes.
Absolutely ridiculous. But that means that there's all the not Lesnar. Meltzer has said that the plan is for Lesnar to maybe drop the title to Braun at Rumble, and it's like, motherfucker, we had this exact same conversation for 2 years with that fucking belt before, and he didn't lose the belt at Mania when he should have. He lost the belt with shenanigans at SummerSlam when it should have just been a straightforward Reigns wins and beats your big fucking monster. Mm-hmm. I'm dreading this. I'm absolutely dreading this. I think it's gonna last much longer than people think it's going to last, and it's gonna be even worse. People are like salivating the match between him and AJ this coming Survivor Series. I'm like, it's gonna be last year's match, but much worse because Lesnar will not take bumps.
I'm hoping that AJ wins that, and it's just because Braun gets involved, but we'll see.
I would settle as a fuck you. Do it in 30 seconds. If Braun come out, power slam him twice, tell AJ, this is yours, and then just have AJ pin him and go fuck him. But they're not going to fucking do that. They'll have AJ try and wrestle around him because they'll try and do the Ric Flair, I'll reckon, wrestle with broom. Oh, I'm dreading this race. I'm absolutely dreading this. Thankfully, the World Cup finished well, though.
Right. Okay. So, Miz and Dolph Ziggler is the final of the WWE World Cup.
I was looking forward to that because their last match was really good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. So, both Corbin and Shane McMahon are out there because obviously each competitor represents the different brand. They're sitting there with a trophy. The Miz just kind of steps off the apron and pretends to injure himself. It wasn't even fucking convincing in the slightest. I thought, it's not a knock. I just think he probably thought, well, fuck you all. What's the point in putting the effort into this? So anyway, the ref's about to call the match for Ziggler because Miz can't continue. I'm going to admit to something now.
Oh, go on.
And I'll admit to two things. One of which I think you've alluded to, right? So I thought that we were going to get a WrestleMania 9 finish. And I thought Hogan would come out and drop a boot on Ziggler and maybe the worst leg drop of doom ever seen to win the World Cup. I thought that was going, but I'll tell you what, an even more embarrassing admission is.
Oh, go on.
So, what is the term they kept using for this final?
Oh my god!
What was the term? So, what would the winner be declared?
The WWE World Cup of Crown Jewel will determine the best in the world. Best in the world. Best in the world.
That was good. So after the 50th time that Michael Cole had said best in the world, and even like Shane was like, no, we got to determine the best in the world. I just thought to myself for a split second, I thought,
look at my eyes.
Did CM Punk get a call from the Saudi Arabian government? I'll admit it. For a split second,
he's not wrestled for 3 years.
For a split second, I thought there was going to be doodle-a-doo. Look in my eyes. What can you see? Anyway, I'm glad it didn't because.
See, I forgot. Right during the fucking previous match, Lesnar Strowman, I thought, but Lesnar's won. But then Hulk Hogan would come out and go like, "We're not doing that, brother, dude, Jack. It doesn't end this way. Yeah. Get back in that ring and do the match proper." And I thought,
job, brother. Like I jobbed before.
Because that didn't happen, because Hogan was obviously on his way back to Florida on the plane.
Yeah.
No one wants to be in that fucking country for longer than they have to. I thought, right, I'm just done. Oh, well, the moment he started talking Reese, I knew it was going to fucking happen. And I thought, well, this will be all right. This will be 15 minutes, but Shane's going to bump like a bus. He'll probably go through tables, make the audience, appreciate, give them what they best they can give.
Mm. So, yeah, I admit that for a split second I thought CM Punk might have taken some blood money. I'm wrong. I was wrong. I'm sorry.
I don't think Punk's probably more morally uncorrupt than Cena and Bryan.
That's why I said sorry, because it was a horrible thing to think.
I think
anyway,
you should tweet me and go, "I'm sorry." I'm sorry, Mr. Punk.
So Shane McMahon took the place of The Miz. Shane McMahon won in 2 minutes, fucking 30 seconds. In a vest top and in a vest top and jeans.
In a wife beater and jeans.
And then proceeded to run around the arena with his trophy as if he'd just won the Royal Rumble. It was fucking appalling. And Christ, it was just so bad. It was just hot garbage.
Inner troll in me is like, that is magnificent. Because if you were to tell people that the WWE is going to book a World Cup, first they're going to feature all Americans as a big fuck you to the world, and then it's going to actually be won by a non-wrestler who's not even featured in the fucking brackets.
And is the son of the owner.
And is the son of the owner. Mwah!
Yeah. And whose wife has recently been a producer on a film about a tyrannical regime murdering a journalist that he was tweeting about the day before and the day of Crown Jewel.
The day of literally 3 hours before show started. It's magnificent.
Jesus fucking wept.
They are some top rank trolls in WWE. Jesus,
right.
That must be intentional.
Mm.
So this tournament was probably the worst booked tournament in WWE history.
You kind of see why Vince doesn't like tournaments, right?
No, that's what I mean. He's like, we're not doing tournaments. Fuck tournaments.
Mm. Yeah, fuck
This was
tournaments.
definitely the worst. This brought back world title WCW 2000, which is what we're going to be covering.
Yeah, it did.
Oh, Christ.
Right, okay, main event.
Oh, my God, and there's more.
D-Generation X, Triple H and the returning Shawn Michaels, millions of dollars richer for the fact, defeating the Brothers of Destruction, The Undertaker and Kane, the aforementioned Mayor of Knoxville, in a tag team match in what you just described as a car crash. A fucking 28-minute long car crash.
Oh, it's like the car's crashed, and then it's fell down a hill, and then it's fell onto another road with cars, and then they've all crashed. It's just progressively got worse. I mean,
I'll say this:
God.
I was intrigued to see Shawn. I won't lie. Who doesn't like? I mean, cunt phases aside, Shawn Michaels has entertained me in pro wrestling from when I was a very young child to someone in their 20s. He's great.
I think
Yeah, well, I'd like to think. Yeah, I think you're right. He found Jesus, dropped the pills and the booze, and
he's a much better person.
He's a much better person for it. Good for him. In that last run he had for that few years, it was very good to see. Anyway, he took the blood money. He come out of retirement. He gets a lot of stick for the fact he's bald. If you look at his hairline on his head, he's very bald now. So he's
I can't remember who. Someone on Twitter raised the interesting point, going like, "Are people giving shit for Michaels for shaving his head? Let alone the fact he's had the worst fucking haircuts in wrestling history for all of his career."
I saw that. Also, if he would have grown his hair out for this, he would have had a worse haircut than fucking Baron Corbin when he had hair. So
Yeah, exactly. No, it's fair facts to him. Fuck it.
Yeah. Seeing DX do their DX shtick at the ages of 49 and 53 is not entertaining.
No.
It's not entertaining. It's fucking embarrassing looking. It's just... it was bad enough when they did that shameless fucking T-shirt tour they did. Remember when they did their last get-together and it was all about the merch?
The 2009 one, not the Vince Lawrence cock one from 2007.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, the
Christ,
second
that
one.
was... So they're chucking glow sticks everywhere, and they're doing the big shtick. The Undertaker and Kane do their shtick, and it's just really bad. Fucking Triple H tears his pec about 5-10 minutes into the match. Why is he doing that bump? Because it's the bump where you go over the buckle, right? So that was when he tore it, when he went over the turnbuckle to the outside. That's when he tore it. Why is he doing that bump? He's 49 years old.
He's in the main event. He's got to give him something.
Well, maybe.
Have you seen the rest of the card?
Well, true.
Have you? They need something. Christ.
Notable bumps and not bumps, but, well, I guess
Botches.
bumps. Notable botches. My two favourites were when Triple H went to Irish Whip the Undertaker into the barricade, but the Undertaker, who's been a professional wrestler for over 30 years, over 30 years, I think, forgot how Irish Whip works and just ran with him, and they both ran into the barricade. Possibly the worst was when Shawn Michaels nearly died because, again, two wrestlers that have got between them about 50 years worth of experience of professional wrestling.
Half a century of experience.
Yeah. Forgot that when someone does a moonsault to the outside, you're supposed to catch them or at least put your body in the way of their fall. So Shawn face planted off of a moonsault, which busted his nose up. But he did also knee Kane in the face whilst doing it. Actually,
you could show that spot and say, like, how can wrestling be fake? Look at that. Look, that's obviously real. Why would they catch him?
And the other noticeable botch for me was when Kane's mask fell off.
Oh my god!
What's the mayor of Knoxville doing in Riyadh? Yeah. Also, every pedigree in this match was an appalling disgrace of a pedigree. Basically, because both Undertaker and Kane did their knee first bump.
Kane bump. Why he's able to wrestle now?
It was so bad. I remember it was so bad that after the first 5-10 minutes of it being like a thing wore off, I went and made myself a sandwich. I came back like 5 minutes later and I was astonished that it had gone more than 15 minutes.
This match was longer than any other on the card, and it was twice as long as the next longest match.
Oh god, so bad.
Triple H has got to be in the longest match, brother. Absolutely ridiculous. This match was a shit show. Absolute shit show. And I love all four of these guys.
Yep.
They have nothing to prove, except this match has basically proven that they should not, under no circumstances, be wrestling anymore. I think it's telling that Shawn Michaels has said, like, I think this match kind of proved that I'm going to go back to regular life now. It's like, you did not have a good time doing this. I bet you were jet lagged to fuck. Probably saw Hunter tear his pec. Probably thought, oh shit, I now I've got to do the bulk of the work. And then probably gave up when you got fucking dropped on your face doing a moonsault trying to give the match something. Fuck this match. Absolutely ridiculous. Shameful.
Yeah, and DX get the win, by the way. So
yeah,
Triple H is getting his wins back on The Undertaker in abundance, brother.
Best bit is where they're both in the corner and Shawn comes up to Triple H and goes, we're too old for this now.
Yeah, do you fucking think?
Catches it, we're too old for this now.
Right, and that's Crown Jewel, and I think
I'd
quite...
Brown Jewel, because it was shit.
Right, okay, yes. And I'm happy that we never ever talk about this show ever again.
Oh, no, we can talk about it when we're laughing about it, and when inevitably the WWE go to Saudi Arabia next April, and we go like, could be worse, could be Crown Jewel, Greatest Royal Rumble 2, Electric Boogaloo, that's going to be good.
Yeah. Or the greatest Survivor Series ever.
80 people against 80 people.
Autumn Slam.
That'd be Springs. Oh, no, wait, what the fuck?
Sand Slam.
Sand Slam.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Blood Money in the Bank.
So, bottom line, folks, watch Evolution. That's really good. Put it on mute whenever they start talking about how progressive they are. Watch Crown Jewel if you've got no morals and you're drunk, because it is hilarious. And Super Showdown is,
Yeah. Thank you for listening. You've probably watched these shows already as well as us, so you know, if anything, it's like an AA group.
yeah.
Until the next, what's the next show? Survivor Series?
Survivor Series 2 weeks.
So we got War Games, Survivor Series. We're not that far off. TLC. We're not that far off of Wrestle Kingdom.
Goldberg.
And we will be episode 27. will be Goldberg. So
Yes, Reese, it will be. Won't
it
it,
will
Reese?
be, I promise. I need to share. I will share in your pain, Harry, I promise.
Oh.
Right, okay. Thank you for listening. You can catch us on soundcloud.com/smartsaboutatitude. We're on iTunes and all of the other kind of Android podcast apps like Podbean and all that shit. I did check. We're on all of those. And YouTube, whole archives on YouTube. Check that out at YouTube. Just
Minus
search.
episode 22.
Oh, I've got that to upload as well. I'll upload that.
yeah.
So our whole archive will be available on there. Just search for Smart About Attitude on YouTube and
Past
Twitter.
some episode videos, sorry.
SWA_podcast on Twitter. And we thank you for listening. We'll see you next time. It's a goodbye from me and a goodbye from Harry. Say goodbye, Harry.
Yeah, goodbye, folks. Thanks for listening.
Yes, thank you for sharing the pain. And toodaloo.
See ya.